And, and he started when he was just 20 years old.
Thank you so much. That's a big introduction. Thank you. I'll stand up. Yes, if I may. Well, first of all, good morning. Thank you very much. Indeed, let me just clarify who I am. Not that really matters to most people in life. So I'm Nigel Hickson. I work at the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology, which is the government department that was created about a year ago now, and was created the Internet and Digital part. It came from the Department of Digital Culture, Media and Sport. So DCMS was split up, and the digital part went to this new department called the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology. I was down on the program as doing data governance or data protection, and I think that was because on the first domain summit in 2021, which I had the privilege to attend, that's the role I was doing, but I'm now doing internet governance, which is a role I did for a long time before. So yes, to answer Tessa's question, I joined the UK Civil Service in 1982. So so quite a while now. But I'll get on because I haven't got long. I haven't got slides. And the reason I haven't got slides is not because they take a long time to prepare. That's partly it. That's one reason. The other reason is that I can't be bothered to use the new DCIT logos and things like that. When you work for government, it comes with such a load of crap. I'm so glad this isn't a public forum. When you work for government, it comes with so much bureaucracy, and you know, you're supposed to use the right slides and the right logo and the right font and the right color. And, you know, can I be bothered at my age? No. Right. Anyway, so it's a real pleasure to speak. Thank you for the introduction, Tess and James, and it's always great to follow Michael. And thank you for his presentation. I want to thank in particular Helmut for the for providing this summit to us, because I just think it's so important that we have the opportunity as an international audience, many coming from abroad, to gather and talk this industry and what we're doing. And as far as I know, this is unique. It's certainly unique in the UK. This happens, and this is so important what you've done, because we do get together and we talk from time to time about what ICANN does. We talk about the domain name sector, we talk about the DNS, we talk about internet governance, we talk about some of the issues that I'll touch on in a minute, but we don't often talk about the sharp end. We don't often talk about the real value that many of you bring to business here. We don't talk about the activities that go on. We don't talk about what the trading arrangements are, the selling arrangements are, what really happens in terms of the innovation and growth in this sector. And I think it's just so important to hear that. And I suppose really the Domain Name Summit has matured, hasn't it? I'm sure that in the first one, if we mentioned ICANN, we'd be taken out and shot. And now ICANN is here in the room. No, I'm kidding. So it's really great to be. I think as I said, that your role to an extent, is often ignored, and not ignored because because we don't want to talk about these people. We're far too important, but because we just don't. In terms of government policy and ICANN policy, in terms of, if you go along to ISOC and hear their debates, if you go along to centre, that centre's a bit more inclusive. Really, what you hear about a lot is registrars and registries. We talk an awful lot about registries and registrars. We talk an awful lot about contracts. talk about DNS abuse. We talk about what registrars and registries should do in the market to counter DNS abuse. We talk about the new GTLD system. And we don't often perhaps talk about your role. I have the privilege and honour, if you like, to represent the UK government on the Government Advisory Committee at ICANN. The Government Advisory Committee is one of the community groups at ICANN that consists of 160, 70 governments. And there, in the Government Advisory Committee, I suspect if I stood up in front of the Government Advisory Committee, talked about what some of you do, they wouldn't really understand the model. And that is because, in general, the model stops at the registrar, if you see what I mean. We learn, if you like, about the DNS model, but the DNS model just sometimes doesn't go far enough. So, to an extent, your view underrepresented in the DNS ecosystem. That's why I think it's so important that we have these meetings, we have summits, and that we're able to talk inclusively. And of course, we have Chris Dini here, my good friend from ICANN, who's going to talk to us later today. But do you want the limelight? That's what I put in my remarks. And I think, the reason I wrote that is, the limelight is something that gives you respectability, I suppose, but the limelight is also something that then allows light to be shown on you, or allows you to emerge, if you like, from the shadows and be more accountable, and therefore time to be more responsible, if you see what I mean. So the limelight is a double-edged sword. I think all maturing sectors enter the limelight. It's inevitable that the work that takes place, we were just discussing blockchain. I mean, most people, Michael rightly says, if the man in the street, they probably wouldn't really understand blockchain domains. I think there's many people in governments that don't understand blockchain domains, and many people elsewhere that don't understand. So the limelight, and I think that's an area that we'll discuss more in the next 2 days. I think all roles will be scrutinized. I think we are entering into a period of turbulence. Certainly in the UK, the riots that followed the tragic incidents in Southport a couple of weeks ago have made government reflect on the whole role of the internet in spreading disinformation. There's been a real focus on what can be done. And this isn't unique to the UK. This is taking place in the European Union as well. And I'm sure it will take place in the new American administration as well. Well, certainly we'll see, I suppose, depending on, I won't into the politics of that. But I think it's inevitable that we are entering into a period where there will be greater scrutiny. At ICANN, there'll be enhanced scrutiny on domain system abuse. There will be more scrutiny on the registration of domain names. It will not be acceptable anymore in time to have inaccurate data in domain registration records. There will be more your customer requirements. The registries and registrars will be brought screaming to the table of accountability. There will be more rules and regulations. And if those rules and regulations do not come through the multi-stakeholder approach, they'll come through governments. It's as simple as that. So I think we are entering a period of uncertainty. But I think we're also, as we saw, entering a period of great opportunity, great innovation, growth. The new GTLD round, which Chris will describe in some detail, has evolved already, and it's not launching to 2026. It's evolved already. Such enormous effort, such enormous input, such enormous talent has gone into creating the terms and conditions which will hopefully see a successful round. Many people in this room are volunteers in that effort, and it is amazing to see the work that is going on. But I think we will indeed see greater scrutiny in the sector. And finally, looking globally, because we have to look globally as well. We work in an internet governance ecosystem. Yes, we work in the DNS, and therefore look to what happens in the DNS. We look at what happens at ICANN, we look at what happens elsewhere on the DNS. But outside of the DNS, we're also witnessing, if you like, an inflection point on internet governance in general. Many of us that have been around too long, if you like, on the policy side of this, have seen these inflection points before. Back in 2003 and 2005, we had the so-called World Summit on the Information Society, two conferences that produced something in 2005 called the Tunis Agenda. You don't have to go and look it up. It's turgid reading, anything that governments produce, usually turgid, especially the UN. But it codified the multi-stakeholder approach. It codified the roles of different actors in the domain name system, in the internet governance ecosystem. And it brought a certain amount of stability to the role of ICANN, to the role of the regional internet registries, and many of the other players in the sector, including the IETF. But this whole multi-stakeholder model, this whole agreement that was enshrined in the Tunis Agenda is being reviewed, up for debate next year at the United Nations General Assembly. And we are seeing a possibility, if you like, that it could be changed. It could be changed because many governments, back in 2003 and 2005, it was a different environment. Many governments weren't really involved in the process. They were conscious that the internet was going to mean something to them. They were conscious that the internet should be inclusive, should be global, should be diverse. But the governance of it was something of particular import. But it is now. Every government has a view on this. Many, many governments, if you like, find the multi-stakeholder approach, they find involvement in the IETF, ICANN, or in other institutions difficult. It's a complex process. Therefore, the whole internet governance structures, in terms of the multi-stakeholder approach, will be up for debate. So, important inflection point in. And at the moment in the UN, there are discussions on a global digital compact. Don't mention the DNS system in general, but will give a steer towards what could happen at the UN next year. So I think important, if you like, clouds on the horizon, important issues to address. I will finish there. All I want to say in conclusion, I've probably gone on too long, is that it's so great to be here. I'm going to be around. I hope you talk to the government. My colleague, Patrick, is here with me today. Patrick Wheatley, who works at the Patrick, hand up. Patrick works with me in the internet governance team at the department. There's very few of us. We try and work, with the different stakeholders in the UK and beyond, try and represent the interests of what we see is important in the UK, and you're part of that interest group. And I hope we have a great summer. I'm looking forward to meeting many of you again and discussing things. It's always great to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nigel. Such a pleasure. Thank you.